Hello, hello, hello. Jack Sheffield again, Jack the exam guy. We're talking about the area of a circle and the formula for the volume of a cylinder. Now, you may know area of a circle, but like the back of your hand, pi r squared, and that's great. But you may not know volume of a cylinder, and you may not quite understand exactly how to read some of these plans when it comes to the circles and the curves and the things like that. So we're going to be, and we got some conversions we're going to talk about as well. So there's a lot more going on this video than just area of a circle. So I want, even if you're pretty familiar, I want you to bear with me. It's not that long. Okay, so here we go. And of course, if you're not familiar with these calculations, then you're definitely going to want to follow along. Let's see here. Okay. And so this is a set of plans that you should have, and you should be fairly familiar with them a little bit. And if you're not, that's okay too. But what I'm going to concentrate on is one of these circular areas right there. Now, you may need to get your screen a little bit bigger or something, or you may look at these plans and say, man, these are not very good plans. And they're not that great of plans, but guess what? You're going to see some very, very similar. So hey, don't be mad at me because the plans aren't good, because I just want to show you something really similar to what you're going to see when you take the exam. This is what you got. So you've got a little, you got a circle here, right? You've got a circle. And then of course it could be a cylinder as well at some point. So this is what we're going to be working with. We've got a radius here that says it's 25 feet from, and the radius of course is from the center to the edge there. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. Now, if they gave us the diameter, of course the diameter is going to be the entire, it's going to be twice the radius, going to be all the way across the circle. And then if you're not familiar with the circumference is the area going around the linear distance going around this way. That's circumference, radius, diameter. Three things that you got to know. And I know most of you know that already. This is just a review, and that's fine. But bear with me because we're going to learn some more stuff here. Now, when you read the plans, it's very important that you look at the notes in some of these circumstances. For instance, the dimensions drawn to the curb and gutter, that was that radius we just saw, are to the gutter pavement joint. So the gutter pavement joint is going to include the gutter there. So if we were told to put sod in this area, would we sod the gutter? No, we would not. Okay, so we would have to take that portion out. And as we go forward, we'll see on the next page there's a detail of the gutter. All right, the gutter is 1 foot 6 inches or 1.5 feet wide. So what we have to do is when we look at that gutter, that 25 foot, not the gutter, but the radius of 25 feet, we have to subtract the 1.5 feet to get the actual radius of any sod. Okay, and that's one thing that you really need to be aware of if you're going to be dealing with these plans. Okay, so here's how it might work with a test question. Let's say we're told that the labor to install sod is $8 per square yard. The materials are $5 per square yard. Sales tax is 7%, and we want to know what it's going to cost to install one circular area. All right. Well, if you think you've got this covered, you can hit the pause button, figure it all out, give me an answer, come on back, and let's see if you got it right. And if you just want to, if your eyes are starting to glaze over at this point, and you're not sure where to start, well, you can just follow along. So here we go. We're going to start with our formula, pi r squared, okay, pi r squared, and we get 1,734.07 square feet. And as we go, we'll say 1,734. Now listen, they're asking about square yards, not square feet. This is, since the radius was in feet, then our answer 1,734 is going to be in feet. So that means we have to convert it to yards. So there are 3 foot in a yard, 3 times 3 is a square. There is 9 square feet in a square yard. And then you got to know also 3 times 3 times 3, 27 cubic feet in a cubic yard. Those are three very, very, very important conversions that you need to know. So 1734 divided by 9 is 192.67 square yards. Our material, our labor is $8 a square yard, so we get $1,544 for our labor. We get it's 5 for material, so it's 193 times 5 times, don't forget your sales tax. Now this is Florida, this is a Florida exam, so what you have to realize is there's sales tax on material, there is not sales tax on labor, and so it's going to be $1,032.55. There you go. Okay, and then, excuse me, yeah, and then so we just add them together, 1544 for the labor, 1,032.55 for material, and we get $2,576.55. Did you get that? Well, hopefully. And then, we'll have some practice questions later on, but that's basically how you do it. It's not that complicated. And if you did that for the first time without having to be guided through it, well, that's great. If you had to be guided through it, well, that's okay too. That's what you're here for, right? Okay. So we did area of a circle. Now what we need to do is volume of a cylinder. Now, volume of a cylinder, most people may not know that right off the top of their head, but what you have to realize is it's just one more dimension. It's just another dimension added to our pi r squared, and that would be the h, or it could be d for depth. So pi r squared h is what most people say, but it could be, like I said, height or depth of the cylinder. And this is good for plumbers to do maybe the volume of a water heater. That comes up a lot on the plumbing exam. And of course, it could come up in many, many ways on the general contractor's exam. Okay, so here we go. 3.14 times our radius, times our radius, times our height, or depth. And let's just say that we had to remove 2 feet of topsoil, 2 feet of soil from that area before we put our sod down. Okay, well that sounds reasonable. Maybe there was some issue with the soil, and they and the owner asked us to take that out and replace it somehow with some better soil. Well, that's fine. So how many cubic yards will need to be removed if 2 feet of soil needs to be removed before placing the sod? Okay, so once again, if you're feeling like you know how to do this, you might want to hit the pause button, see if you can answer it, and then come back and see if you got the right answer. If not, just follow along. So here we go. Here is our formula, 3.14 pi r. The radius is 23.5, so it's the radius squared, and then it's 2 feet deep. Pi, this is the h in the pi r squared h, and we're all talking about feet here. Feet times feet times feet. Okay, make sure, and that's a key when you're doing any type of calculation like this, you have to make sure that you're multiplying all in the same units. Feet times feet times feet, yards times yards times yards, inches times inches times inches. Anything where you're multiplying different units, like if you take an inch and you multiply it times a foot, the number means nothing. It's meaningless. So be careful about that. That can bite you. So we get 3,468.13 cubic feet. All right, feet times feet times feet. That's cubic feet. And then we divide it by 27 to get cubic yards. It's 128.44 cubic yards. There you go. And that's about it. You've got, now you've been exposed to what a lot of people would have already known, pi r squared h, which is a little bit more A little bit more obscure. A lot of people don't know that, but now you know. You might want to write this, by the way, on a tab somewhere, right? I mean, somebody might have told you you shouldn't write formulas on a tab, and there's a chance they may see it when you're taking an exam, but that chance is pretty slim. Um, and then there was a couple other things. Remember, you've got your conversions, 3 feet in a yard, 9 square feet in a square yard. I'd write that down somewhere too. 27 cubic feet in a cubic yard. All these things are things that you don't want to have to look up. Now, you may find them somewhere in some book, that you bring into the exam. But these are things that you really need to know off the top of your head because remember, time is of the essence. And if you're looking up basic stuff like that, then it's going to eat up some of your time. Okay, well, this has been fun. This is Jack Sheffield, Jack the Exam Guy, reminding you if anybody tells you you don't know Jack, you tell them they're wrong. Don't let them tell you don't know Jack. You do know Jack. You know Jack, the exam guy. Jack's going to help you get past this exam. And I appreciate your business. And remember, when you get done with this, you're going to be rich and famous. All right. Or maybe just rich. But you're going to be making a bunch of money. And I want you to remember people that aren't quite as fortunate as you are. Here you are, you're spending a little bit of money. You got a little extra money to, get your license. You're going to be making tons of money. You're going to be driving a Lamborghini and, pulling your work trailer behind it, and make sure that you give a few dollars to charity. And be aware of people that aren't quite as fortunate as we are. Thanks again very much for your business.